This is KPPQ LP Ventura, 104.1 FM, and we're in the Women's Room, where we appreciate and support each other. I'm your host, Kathleen Good. My guest today is Lysa Urban, who is the marketing manager for Women's Economic Ventures. We're so happy to have you here today, Lysa.
Thank you for inviting me, Kathy. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, great. I asked Lysa here today to talk about Weave because women need economic independence and should have equity with men to obtain the means to set themselves up in business. The venture in the title of the organization makes it sound really intriguing to me. Perhaps to start out with, you could give the backstory to a couple of the interesting businesses that you have fostered.
Sure. So first of all, Women's Economic Ventures, or WEAVE, is a nonprofit organization based in Santa Barbara County and Ventura County. And we are dedicated to creating an equitable and just society through the economic empowerment of women. And the way that we do that is by providing business training, advisory services, micro loans to help entrepreneurs start, grow, and thrive in business. And although our focus is on women, we do welcome people of all gender identities into the Weave community, and our services are provided in both English and Spanish. So talking about some of the businesses that have been part of our Weave community, one that comes to mind is a young woman by the name of Kaylee Hernandez. She is the founder and owner of a company called Rojo that she started. And Kaylee, after graduating from college, had accepted a Princeton fellowship to do nonprofit work in East Africa. While she was there, she fell in love with these exotic, beautiful beaded shoes. And she parlayed her experience and nonprofit work in East Africa, as well as her passion for social change, to establishing a company. So at a very young age, at age 23, the Santa Barbara local, Kaylee, founded Rojo, which is an ethical accessories brand providing consumers with unique quality products made by artisans in Kenya. Today, Rojo works with more than 400 artisans. And Kaylee says, we're more than our beautiful products. We're committed to social change and the well-being of our artisans, and they believe in paying higher wages than the industry standard. They also provide their artisans with educational grants to send their children to quality schools in the area. So wow. Kaylee came to us. I know they're beautiful exotic shoes. I wish you could see them, Kathy. They're stunning. They're unlike anything that we have here. And the fact that she was able to track down the artisans and support them and give them not only work, but opportunity to educate their children and families is a beautiful story. As far as the business part of it, Kaylee came to Weave looking for support on how to become a business owner, because yes, she loved shoes. Yes, she had a passion for social change, but she didn't have entrepreneurship experience. Oh. So that's where Weave came in. She came to us for business planning experience, financial planning experience, how to launch and grow and sustain a business, as important as her business is. So we've been really lucky to be alongside Kaylee for this journey of her amazing business.
Okay, that is a wonderful story and gave us some insights into Weave. Perhaps you could briefly tell us about I love this story too, the woman who started selling medical scrubs business. Where did she start?
Yes, so this is Reina Chavez. And for your listeners who are in the city of Ventura, they might recognize a business on Main Street called Scrubs on the Run. Reina started her business in 2011 after working for several years in the healthcare field. And she saw this need to offer hardworking medical professionals the ability to conveniently shop for unique and affordable uniforms, what are called scrubs, medical scrubs. So she started traveling around to the local hospitals, picture her driving around to the local hospitals here in Ventura County to sell scrubs from her car.
Oh.
I mean, literally, that was literally Scrubs on the Run.
I see the title.
And so she was selling medical scrubs from her car. And in 2014, she came to Weave for a loan, a business loan, and was able to open her first location in Ventura. This allowed her the financing to quit her full-time job, to hire her first employee, to set up a brick and mortar business. And to this day, she has now opened 2 additional locations of Scrubs on the Run, one in Thousand Oaks and one in Oxnard, has several employees, has steadily grown her business, and has done an incredible job. As she says, even recently during the COVID pandemic, Weave has provided guidance and the emergency funding that I needed to keep my business operating during the pandemic.
Wow, that's a really great story.
Mhm.
Well, before we talk any more about Weave, let's talk about you. How did your career path lead you to being marketing manager for Women's Economic Ventures? And what did you do prior to this work?
Right. So I used to work for the city of Ventura, downtown, City Hall, that beautiful building on Poli Street at the top of California Street. My role there was Public Information Officer, or PIO,
Oh, big
which,
job.
well, it was a great job. And what I did there was community outreach, civic engagement, marketing, and media relations. And that, of course, included all of the different departments in the city, whether it was fire, police, public works, and the different departments. So when it came to doing things for economic development, that's when I first learned about Women's Economic Ventures. I was doing some work collaborating with Weave, and I thought, this is an outstanding organization. And I became a fan of Weave several years ago, long before I joined the Weave staff. But it was through my work at the city of Ventura, doing that community outreach and support for the residents of Ventura, that I first learned about Weave.
Oh, well, it really makes a lot of sense. The flow into the job you're doing now. Well, let's even go further back and start at the
Mhm.
beginning of Women's Economic Ventures. Someone obviously saw the need for women to have economic power, financial support, as well as the know-how to start her own business. Who was it and when did she do it?
Well, that brilliant and wonderful visionary is Marcia Bailey. Marcia Bailey is Weave's founder and CEO emerita. She launched Women's Economic Ventures, or Weave, in 1991 after doing several years of
Oh,
planning and fundraising. She's quite an impressive, spectacular leader in the industry of women's empowerment. And we're lucky that Marcia Bailey happened to be located in Santa Barbara with this incredible passion and drive to start an organization like Weave.
wow. So, Weave, you told me when we talked earlier, has helped start or expand more than 5,000 businesses on California's Central Coast. That is an impressive number. I wonder if you would, without you going into a lot of details, because we'll run out of time, if you could, for our listener, just mention a few of the types of business endeavors that women have contrived and succeeded in.
Sure. So one thing, just going back to Marcia, is that she started Weave based on the idea that a women's economic status could be improved by helping them start their own businesses. And this concept was both innovative and unproven. But here we are 30 years later,
Uh-huh.
and Weave has proven that not only can business ownership provide viable pathways out of poverty, It can also build family wealth and stability, as well as contribute to the economic well-being of our communities. So you asked, Kathy, about what are some of the types of businesses, of those more than 5,000 businesses that Weave has helped start during these past 30 years. It's everything. If you think about attorneys, artists, estheticians, bookkeepers, clothing and jewelry designers, bakeries, restaurants, specialty boutiques, winemakers, chocolate makers, olive oil
Wow.
farms, horseback riding instructors, personal fitness trainers, manufacturing, and so much more.
Oh, wow. That really runs the gambit. So, what are some of the ways Weave offers assistance to women? I mean, what do you do to help them get going?
Right. So when Marcia was starting Weave 30 years ago, it became apparent that providing a loan in and of itself to start a business was not sufficient. And so we've developed, under Marcia's vision, we've developed a business training program to coincide with the loan program. And so some of the programs that we have today include business training courses, financial education resources, QuickBooks training and coaching, business advisory and consulting services, business startup and expansion loans, and free webinars, all sorts of courses, some free, some paid, that help businesses, entrepreneurs, not only assess their readiness to start a business, but to help them grow, stabilize, and expand once they have launched their business.
Uh-huh. What if a client has so little money she can't even afford the training course? What happens then?
The good news is that we do offer scholarships for
Oh,
business owners to participate.
uh-huh.
The fees to begin with are low, but even in that case, our goal is to ensure that business owners have the training and the resources they need. So we do provide scholarships.
Okay. So does Weave sort of function, or could it function as an alternative for getting a very expensive MBA degree?
It's funny that you asked that, Kathy. We've had some of our graduates refer to our courses as better than an MBA program.
Oh,
Much
wow.
more, much more hands-on, definitely more cost efficient, with the kinds of training that give them immediate access to experts in different industries. So I don't know whether every MBA program would say, oh, do you need help with legal advice for trademarking your business name? Let me provide you that expert. That's something that Weave can do. Any resource that a business owner needs during their launch and growth phase, Weave has those resources, experts, mentors, advisors to provide everyone in our Weave community. So a little bit different than an MBA degree where you might receive the degree and then walk away. You stay connected through your Weave journey to the Weave community and our resources for as long as you want.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, it might be kind of hard to put this into a few skills, but what kinds of skills does a person, a woman, really need to start a business? What maybe three or four things should she definitely know before she launches?
Definitely a solid understanding of your financials, access to capital,
Ah,
business skills, and a community of resources with experts and advisors to help guide you. You don't
okay.
want to do this alone. You don't want to do this journey alone. And if you can
Ah.
have an organization like Weave join you on the journey, then you will always have the support and resources you need for your business journey.
Okay. You did mention the pathway out of poverty, and that's a proven fact. Can you expand on that a little bit? That Marcia Bailey was the one who kind of put this idea into motion.
Sure, sure. So Weave serves more than 1,000 people each year. 84% of them are women, 48% are pre-business, 52% are already in business, 33% are Latinx, And again, we do cover and support everybody in Santa Barbara County as well as Ventura County. And so we know from our research of graduates and checking back with Weave clients 12 to 18 months after they have received Weave training and support, that 93% of businesses are still operating, and that business sales and the owner's draw is what the entrepreneur or the solopreneur receives as their salary. The business sales and owner's draw has increased by 100%.
Wow.
That's huge. I mean, imagine that you're doing a business, and after you've gone through our training, that you as the entrepreneur, your salary or owner's draw has increased by 100%.
Oh my gosh, that is a very big statistic. And we're going to have to leave that valuable statistic right there while we do a station ID. This is KPPQ LP Ventura, 104.1 FM, and we're in the women's room where we appreciate and support each other. I'm your host, Kathleen Good. My guest today is Lysa Urban, who is the marketing manager for Women's Economic Ventures. She is here to tell us about Weave, and its commitment not only to help set women up in a business of their own, but also to provide continued support. Weave has helped either start or expand more than 5,000 businesses on California's Central Coast. And we're back. And you were just telling us a very important statistic that women's income, their personal draw for the business, improved by 100% after getting help and support from Weave. So let's go on and talk a little bit about how business ventures contribute to a community. And why is it important to have local as contrasted to national corporate businesses? And perhaps speak to the vibrancy that small businesses create in a community.
Right. Well, just to go back to your previous question one bit before.
Oh, sure.
But before we move on, is that I wanted to mention additionally some more stats that 58% of Weave clients have increased their household income, and 84% of Weave clients have moved out of poverty. So before coming to Weave, they were in poverty. 84% have moved out of poverty after coming through Weave training and programs and support.
So by creating their own employment, they were able to get out of poverty. Well, were they uneducated or didn't have the right skill set to actually get a job, or they had to take low-level jobs because of these deficits?
That's right. It's a combination of those factors. And really what's at the heart of it is having a financial education, financial literacy, and financial independence. That's a really important foundation. You know, whether you're a business owner or if you work for somebody else's business for your own personal finances, to have that confidence, that independence, and that financial literacy to make good decisions for yourself.
Okay, how these ventures help the woman, but they also contribute to the community. And I was wondering if you could talk about how they add to our community and enhance, its livability.
That's right. You know, when you think about visiting somewhere, if you're going to be a tourist and you're going to go to another town, another city, someplace to visit, I'm guessing that you're not thinking about how exciting it is to see the big box retailers at another city or location. You know, you really want to find what the best favorite places are for locals. What do people love to see, do, shop, eat, enjoy? And that's why we love where we live. It's those small businesses and those places that we love to visit and support, because that's what makes our communities vibrant, exciting, sustainable, and resilient.
Can't help but mention this here, that this also contributes to a civil society, that having prosperity in the community, having places to go, having people who feel good about their community are less likely to want to tear their community down.
That's right. And you think about the small businesses, these weave assisted businesses, each weave assisted business on average employs 2 or more workers in addition to the business owner. So what that means is economic stability and vibrancy. In the past 5 years, weave client businesses have generated more than 3,000 local jobs.
Oh my
So when you're
gosh.
thinking about what do small businesses do for me? What's in it for me with a small business? Well, it's again where you like to shop and enjoy your favorite purchases and your events and activities, but it's also that sense of community. And if you have children, teenagers, it might be their first jobs in high school is working for a local small business. There's a lot of job generation and economic support. In fact, in the last 5 years, we've assisted businesses have generated an estimated 13 million in state and local tax revenues.
Wow.
So they're income generators, they're community builders, they're jobs, and it's why we love where we live.
And it just sounds like win-win-win all the way. Okay, so Weave is a nonprofit, as you mentioned. Now, where do you get your funding?
That's a great question. Often asked that question, where does Weave get our funding? So a couple of sources. One of the sources is through individuals, people who believe in donating to a nonprofit organization and knowing that for every dollar they donate returns $12 back to the local community. We also receive funding from government programs, donations from corporations. We earn a bit of revenue from the courses. Like I said, the courses are not expensive. And we receive foundation grant funding. So a couple of different sources, but number one is individuals who believe in supporting the local economy and their local community.
Oh, okay. And while we're here on nonprofits, tell your listener who is dedicated to women's parity how they might contribute, even if they don't have the money to donate.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's also a great question. So yes, financial donations are helpful, but some of the other ways to help, really simple, shop at your local small business owned venues. If you have your favorite restaurants, shops, and businesses, shop there rather than going to a big box retailer if you can help it. Shop and support. And small business owners, I've noticed this personally, when I shop from a local small business owner, I'll often receive a handwritten thank you note from that business owner.
Oh,
I'm sure that you don't get that when you go to certain big box retailers. You don't get a handwritten, genuine thank you note.
No, you get a debit to your credit card.
That's right. So one of the ways to show your love and support for small business owners in your community is number one, shop with them. You can also do simple things like writing reviews and recommendations online. I love this business because, or on your social media, hey, I just discovered a great new restaurant that's a woman-owned business in town. I highly recommend it. And here's my favorite meal that I ordered from them. Giving rave reviews and sharing with your friends is a really genuine, organic way to celebrate and support local business owners. All right, another way to support our business owners, if any of your listeners have expertise in particular areas where they could volunteer their time to mentor and coach, Weave accepts volunteers. So we have volunteers who are attorneys, who are marketing experts, who have different kinds of manufacturing expertise, and they want to help support, mentor, and coach small business owners. So volunteering your time, again, is another wonderful way to support our local business community.
and support women in general. And that's the whole point of our show today, is to talk about how we can support each other. I have another question here about local entrepreneurship. Can this contribute positively to global problems such as climate change?
Yes, absolutely. What you might find is that local entrepreneurs play an important role in global sustainability and actually help alleviate climate change. Oftentimes, a locally owned business will source locally owned, locally produced goods, and they'll also solicit locally based customers, which has a direct impact on the environment through needing less resources to bring the products or customers to the business. It also builds a stronger and more vibrant local economy and community, because a strong, well-integrated local business community is a more resilient community, one that
Uh,
can navigate and recover more quickly from some adverse extremes of climate change.
oh, okay. So when we talked previously, I just love these two terms. They're very interesting. I thought you might define them for a listener. You use the term unbankable and pre-bankable. And what do these terms mean?
Sure. So generally, there's something about an applicant's situation that leaves them just outside the prescribed box that a
Oh,
bank has for approving business credit. For
uh-huh.
example, a low credit score or the number of years in business. Banks usually require at least 2 years in business, a lack of sufficient profitability, or a lack of collateral. So where a business owner might find themselves not able to receive loan funding from a bank, and a bank might refer to that person as unbankable, we at Weave refer to them as pre-bankable,
Oh,
because A, we can provide them the business loans, and B, we will also provide the business training, the financial literacy, and the support and resources to go along with the business loan.
okay. Well, we have about another minute here. So maybe you could go briefly into why some of the key reasons a business venture does not succeed. That goes along with, what does a person starting up a business need to know?
Right. So anybody starting a business really needs to make sure that they have informed market research, a clearly defined value proposition or unique selling point, some stream of capital or investment to adequately scale and grow their business, and possibly also a diversity of revenue streams or supply chain to make sure that they can weather any natural disasters. And those are exactly the ways that Weave supports and helps businesses.
Okay, well, let's leave that there. And I think one more thing we should tell your listener is the website details for Women's Economic Ventures.
Absolutely. Visit us at weaveonline.org. That's WEV online.org.
Okay.
Weaveonline.org.
Okay, I was going to repeat it, but you did. Thank you so much, Lysa, for coming in to tell our listeners about Women's Economic Ventures and its commitment to not only help set women up in a business of their own, but to provide continued support. You can download the MyTuner app for KPPQ and listen to programming 24/7. You can email us radio@capsmedia.org for comments, suggestions, concerns, or if you'd like to be a guest on a show, or maybe do your own show. This is KPPQ LP Ventura, 104.1 FM, and we're in the Women's Room, where we appreciate and support each other. I'm your host, Kathleen Good.